I'd like to welcome our guest today. I have with us today Tracie Moored, the new Kalamazoo Township Superintendent, and Mr. Tim Tarantine, who is the CEO of Translators Consulting Group. Tracie, we'll start with you as we go into this. Coming in as the Township Superintendent, what were the challenges that you thought you faced and why it was important to engage with Translators Group?
Well, first of all, when I started at the township, they'd been without a manager for about a year, close to a year and a half. And so when you look internally at the culture without that kind of vision and moving forward, there has to be proactive, out of the box, how do you make the fastest impact? So in conversations with Tim in the past, I knew that bringing him in and having conversation that he would help me move forward in facilitating some of those discussions with the internal team, and the board very much recognized that we had to invest in that culture because the culture internally serves our community, so we have to be running top notch.
Tim, we know that you have created the new Leader Assimilation program. Why did you think there was such a need for that?
Well, it's been years that I've been doing that with companies and organizations, and the idea is that when leaders like Tracie come in, as a matter of fact, when there's any shift in leadership, what tends to happen is you take about a year of confusion and then you follow that with about 6 months of game plan, right? And then the second half of the second year is lying until things fall apart. And then the leader finds out who the people are and what's going on. I'm joking, but I'm being honest about the toughness of transition. And so the assimilation process is not necessarily to get the leader to hurry up and become just like the organization. It's not an assimilation of personality. It really is the unpacking of who we are and who we can be together.
So in this particular process, what stood out to you?
The very first day, the thing that stood out to me is being able to listen. They really wanted that openness and that one-on-one conversation. So that was great, and I was like, okay, this is really what we need right now as an organization, is to be heard, and then to be able to talk about what great looks like. That was one of the first questions. What does great look like to the employees? Because I have the team that I have when I start, and I have to figure out the best way to communicate. Not everybody the same way. And when I really started saying, hey, this is really what we needed, was just a few in.
Tim, I want to ask you, you bring the VIA, Character Strengths Profile, into this process.
Yeah.
Why is it important to help people understand their strengths and for any leader to understand the strengths of the team?
The idea is to get common vocabulary for what we need. The goal is to reduce the confusion and increase the understanding, increase the literacy about people.
How did the strengths conversation go? What did you notice in that?
It went well. I think there were not a lot of surprises, right? It was just being able to share that openly, and then also as a leader sharing that with them. It's one thing for me to say, hey, I want to know about you, but I wanted them to know about me as well.
How is what you bring to the table for leaders and organizations, how does that help them get assimilated and connect with their teams quickly?
We don't start with fear, we start with honor and dignity and letting people reimagine and think about their role differently. Wait a minute, this ain't my job. This is what the whole of the township is trusting me with. That's a game changer for the speed of trust.
What advice would you give other municipalities that may be thinking about doing this type of work?
Don't wait, right? Whether you're brand new, coming into a new organization, or you have some facilitation needs right now or employees you need that additional support and investment, because that makes the key difference to moving all the business forward.